G'day legends. Time for a bit of Jim Does SuperCoach. NFL SuperCoach, the final week of NFL SuperCoach. I'm down the beach, hanging out with the fam. It's January 1st. We'd usually do these on a Wednesday, but because there's no games in week 18 in the NFL until Sunday, I figured, look, I'd sort of see where the chips lie a little bit in terms of maybe some news. It's not really helping, so I figured I'd just do a quick hitter, see how everyone did in week 17, where we're all at in the overall standings, how you're going in your leagues, and sort of basically throw this out to the Brains Trust and see maybe what we should be doing in week 18, if anything, if anyone's got any trades left, you know, that sort of vibe. So the final week is always a bit of a strange one when it comes to SuperCoach. You know, if you're still going for overall ranking, that's awesome. That's what I'm doing at this point. All my leagues are done. Amazingly, I'm ranked 24th overall, but I've been knocked out of all my leagues. Go figure. Week to week is crazy, isn't it? So I guess that's the wash, right? So I end up last week 567, which moved me up 22 spots overall to 24th. So feeling pretty good about that. The biggest stuff that actually worked in my favor, I had the VC on Jahmyr Gibbs. That did not work. He managed a measly 10. But I did chuck the C on our man Drake May, and he crushed it, 64. He didn't crush as much as Derrick Henry, of course. He rolled out of bed and had a 91 with 4 touchdowns and 200 yards. But still, I mean, that basically means 24th overall. Feel pretty good about that. I have one remaining trade. So I know that other folks out there have burned all their trades. I've got this one trade left, and I feel pretty happy that I've got that one left because, and I mean, this is the reason why I sort of put off taping this show until Thursday afternoon, just waiting to see if there's any other news that popped out. Is Josh Allen going to play? Right? This is probably the big question I'm looking at. And I've got a feeling if he does play, with Buffalo sort of out of the running for the AFC East, they're not going to have a home field advantage for this playoff run. I feel like he might get out there, see how his foot's feeling, play a couple of snaps, and then pack her up, boys. Like, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen. They're not going to get a week off, so I think they'll try to basically have a little bit of a crack and then put the pool cue back in the rack, sit him down and go, thanks for coming, Josh. They're playing the Jets. They're at home. Just don't get hurt, right? That's basically the biggest thing right now. They're barely going to be able to impact their seeding. I think Josh Allen will probably sit. So with Josh Allen in my flex spot and one trade left, looking at the rest of my team, I feel like most of the other dudes are probably going to play. There's a lot of dead rubbers, obviously, in the NFL Week 18 this week. But I think, importantly, the Pats, they play at the same time as Denver and the Chargers and all these other teams still jostling for playoff seeding. So that's handy that I've got Drake May as my starting QB. It's handy that I'll have the Pats defense against the Dolphins, which I think is a good thing against Quinn Ewers. And Andy Borregales, right? He'll be out there still. I still feel okay about Trey McBride. I still feel okay about Goddard. That one maybe not so much because it feels like they're going to rest Jalen Hurts. But if Goddard plays, that's okay, right? I'm feeling okay. My running back situation, McCaffrey, the Niners are playing Seattle this week for the 1 seed overall. He'll be out there. Bijan, Atlanta are just rolling out there and having a crack, which is kind of fun. Good on them. Jahmyr Gibbs is the interesting one for me, right? Because Jonathan Taylor as well. Like, I feel like they'll still be gunning for these big, like rushing and scrimmage yard marks that they want to put on paper. Gibbs is probably the one that might not get as much run. They're playing Chicago. That's a division opponent. But Detroit are out of the playoffs. So are Indy. So you got like a little bit of a question mark, I reckon, around Taylor and Gibbs, whether or not they play. I've got RJ Harvey on my bench. So I do feel like that's at least handy cover for one of them if they don't play. The question is whether or not I maybe replace Gibbs with RJ Harvey. I feel like Denver are going to go to him plenty against the Chargers this week. But for now, I think until we know more, and like this is essentially the point of this entire show right now, is that until we know more, there's not much I can really do, right? And so with our first games of the week on Sunday, this is going to come right down to the wire as to exactly the makeup of my team. I won't do the Friday team reveal. Actually, maybe I will if I've got time tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But for the minute, I think RJ Harvey just is a bit of awesome emergency bench cover for Gibbs and for Taylor. Is okay. the wide receivers, same sort of vibe. Puka Nacua, JSN, Jamar Chase. Like Chase and Cincy are just sort of out there playing for a bit of pride now against Cleveland. But Puka and JSN, provided they've got no injuries or anything. JSN looked like he got a bit banged up the other day. But I do have Ted McMillan and Justin Jefferson still on my bench, so I do have a bit of emergency cover if any of them miss out. So it really just comes down for me, Josh Allen. Who do we trade him to, Jim? And the big problem is there's not too many great options. If I trade him out, I've got 26.01 mil. That is not enough to get to Trevor Lawrence, who would be my preferred target this week as a QB. And if you don't have him, I feel like he should be your preferred target as well, with Jacksonville playing Tennessee. And they are still live for the 1 seed, the Jags, right? Because later on that day, if the Jags, they play in the early slate, if they win, they've got the AFC South locked away. And then they would basically just be waiting on whether or not the Pats and Denver win. So I feel like Jacksonville are going to be going absolutely hammer and tongs to the point where I'm now considering maybe bringing in Travis Etienne, right, up against the Titans, where they just go absolutely smash mode on them. So Lawrence, Etienne feel pretty good. My other options, it's Caleb Williams, Chicago up against Detroit. Chicago is still in play. I mean, for a little bit of seeding, to stay in the 2 seed in the NFC, maybe he can sort of run one in for us. He's been looking really, really good the last couple of weeks. Outside of that, my options are pretty slim. Derrick Henry, they've got the last game of the season up against Pittsburgh. I don't know if I really like that matchup so much for Tractor Cedo. Derrick Henry. Chris Olave is a pretty good one, though, for the New Orleans Saints up against Atlanta. But I don't know if he's as reliable as maybe one of the other QBs that I could throw in there. Stafford up against the Niners defense. Oh, not the Niners. The Rams might be resting folks against the Cardinals, rather. Sean McVay has come out and said, no, we're not going to rest anybody. But that does very much feel like Sean McVay, just a bit of smoke and mirrors. So I don't know if I want to rely on Stafford when I've already got Puka Nacua on there as well. I just don't know if Stafford's going to play the entire game, right? And if he does, maybe they run the ball. So I think for the minute, it's kind of looking as though my best option will be either to bring in Travis Etienne. Brock Purdy's a pretty interesting one for the Niners. He's been scoring off his head of late. They've got a tough matchup, though, against Seattle this week on Sunday. So I don't know if I like that one so much. Olave's an interesting one. Chase Brown. But look, if I had the cash, I'll go Trev Lawrence. Probably still might go Travis Etienne. But again, I'm going to ride this one right down to the wire, I think. Caleb Williams is probably where I end up going just because I think his ceiling is massive. He could run in a couple of touchdowns against this Detroit defense that is totally packed it up. Their season's over. Chicago might want to lay the boot in. So Caleb might be where I go with this one. Joe Burrow, possibly as well. Up against Cleveland, though, that's a pretty rough matchup. But Caleb is probably where I'm going to go. So we're going to ride this down to Sunday. We'll see what happens. We'll see who actually gets announced as playing, who actually does play, and we'll go from there. So if you look at some of the top teams as well, who have left at the top of the actual full-blown ranks, you got Cups of the Rose. Their team has Jalen Hurts as QB, and he might not play this week, right? Josh Allen might not as well. They've got JJ McCarthy on the bench. That is a bit of a rough one if you're in the number 1 spot overall in SuperCoach. Who knows what trades they've got left, but geez, that's a bit of a rock and a hard place. Touch My Wilson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Same sort of vibes, right? What do we got there? Oh, Mordecai. So Drake May and Josh Allen and the other ones. So look, the top score at the moment is 9,190. I'm in 24th at 8,940. So I'm 250 points off the pace. I don't think I'm going to get to the number 1 spot. I don't think I can outscore the number 1 ranked team by 250 when we've got pretty similar-ish kind of teams. But I think that POD, Caleb Williams coming in as my QB in place of Josh Allen, might be the one move I make. Outside of that, some of the other ones, they've got Rashee Rice, CD Lamb. I've got George Pickens. Who knows what's going to happen with Dallas. I still don't mind Wan'Dale Robinson as a POD in my wide receiver 6. It's not a bad POD as well, but I don't think I'm going to get to number 1. I'd just like to sort of maintain and finish top 25. That'd be kind of nice. What do you guys reckon? Let me know who you're rolling with. Let me know who you've got in the gun for trades. What you think about the Josh Allen situation. But yeah, so that's where I'm at, right? 24th overall. Want to sort of stay around there, hopefully not have a disaster like we're having in NBA this week with no Josh Giddey, no Nikola Jokic, but there you go. So pretty good first season overall. We'll do a wrap-up show next week. I think I'll be back in Melbourne quickly. I've got to go to a gig next Tuesday, so I'll be in the studio. I'll do a quick NFL wrap-up show to sort of see how it's gone. But it's been a really fun season. Thanks for the ride out there along with everybody else. The highs and the dizzying lows. It's been a really fun experience, I think, NFL SuperCoach. The week-on-week sort of experience, very similar to AFL and NRL, obviously. Makes it very suited, I think, for SuperCoach and just that idea of classic. So I've enjoyed it a lot. But anyway, so let us know what you're doing. Hit us up in the DMs, jump in the comments, say g'day. Rank 24, gonna probably go Caleb Williams. Wish I had the cash for Trevor Lawrence. It's breaking my heart that I don't, but only one trade left. I don't know. Here we are, but still, I feel okay that I've at least got that one trade. So fingers crossed. There you go. That is it. I'm going to go look after the squids, go hang out, drink some tins, have a good night. So that's it. Week 18. Here we go. Where do you reckon we end up? Who knows? But either way, as Jim does SuperCoach, happy super coaching.